Now then, people, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I've just realised I've not got my lighting on, so let me get my lighting on first and foremost. Hope we're all doing well. I've got everyone's favourite Italian with us, Mr. Andrea. I was going to say Radrizzani again then, but he's not. He's
Man, not that.
No, I know. Before we get into today's video, the guys over where I did the podcast the other day at Who's Listening UK have just dropped another short, and it's me blind ranking random Leeds United midfielders. So I wanted to share it with Andrea, and I wanted and you folks as well to see how you think I did. So let's get that shared, and you can tell me. Let's do that first. A bit of fun. Make sure you go follow Who's Listening UK as well. They've got a YouTube channel as well. But here we go. We ready? Can you hear this? We got 10 now.
10, yeah.
Michael Brown. Where are you putting him, Andrea?
9. Yeah.
So
he's got a formation. There's no number 5 in this one, is there?
We had so many shit players in that era. Michael Tong, Michael Brown,
yeah,
Paul Green. 9.
9.
Go on, Andrea.
Oh, I love
Gary McAllister.
Gary Mac.
3.
He was such a class footballer.
Yeah,
he looked 50
and the fact
for 20 years.
The fact he was Scottish as well, no disrespect, but he was a great player.
He looked like he should be shit at football as well.
He did.
He
didn't look like a natural footballer.
He went to Liverpool after.
Yeah, he did.
Trophies.
Yeah, he done very well.
Yeah.
He was quality.
I mean, Gerrard said he played a big part in his career, didn't he? And then
because Gerrard
took him to Rangers,
didn't he? And Villa.
Where would you go with him then?
4. Close, Andrea.
Right,
Who's up next?
right.
Bradley Johnson.
Where are you going?
Them. I'm just gonna say 5 because I think there's better players probably coming up later in the video. 5.
Yeah, because he was from Norwich.
Yeah, I like
player as well. Yeah,
it was
good left foot. Scored goals.
Yeah,
as
man,
well, didn't he?
scored goals. He was a good period for us with the likes of Snodgrass and stuff.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. 7 for me.
David Batty.
Yeah, I love Batty's.
1 for you.
1. Where are you going with Batty? Where would you put what? 2, yeah?
2.
Fair.
Yeah.
Batty's my favourite.
Yeah,
send his autographs when he was at school.
Yeah.
Honestly, I still do it now. Why through? Yeah, man.
Lee Bowyer.
Lee Bowyer.
Ooh, 3 now.
Yeah, Bowyer's well up there, top player. 3.
3.
Go on, Andrea.
Olivier Dacour.
I already picked 5, so unfortunate. No, 4. It's 3 for me. Yeah, 4.
Oh.
Yeah, I liked him as well.
Yeah,
He was
top
class,
player,
wasn't
man. He would have to be 2, to be
2.
honest. But 2 for
Gary
me.
Speed.
Oh, Gary Speed.
I've already picked the top ones. I don't know if Billy's coming up later on, so...
No, it's only my era, bro, so we're talking
Oh, your era, yeah. Let's say 1 then,
like
yeah.
From
Let's
Premier League onwards, really.
Yeah. Let's say 1 then.
Number 1. Yeah, Speed, what a guy. What's the highest I've got?
5.
I'll have to put him in 5. Or...
Harsh, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's just how these games work sometimes. But I mean, what a
again,
player.
though, just being truthful about the whole thing, he was a steady midfield player. Some of the guys that you've picked there were far more attacking or entertaining,
as well,
if that's the right word.
Longevity, Bowyer, amount of games he played
Yeah.
would probably put him in there.
Definitely.
How many seasons? Speed must have played 3 or 4 seasons at.
Well, he came through, didn't he? He came
Pre-Prem,
through at
wasn't it,
Leeds,
as well?
yeah.
And was he one of the casualties of the sort of?
No,
before
he'd
that.
gone before
He
that,
won
yeah.
the league when you won the league the year before.
91,
He
92.
won that as a youngster with Batty, didn't he? I think
He was at Everton.
Newcastle.
Where
Sheffield United.
Played a few places, didn't he?
Bolton.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
Bolton for a bit as well.
Jody Morris.
Oh, have I got 10?
No. Oh yeah, you have.
Did he
yeah.
win that fight of the
Yeah.
weekend, Johnny Morris, or not?
I don't know. I didn't,
No.
I didn't see. Johnny Howson.
Johnny Howson's back at the club now.
Yeah,
There you go.
was he the big
This
shot?
is like I bet this is sort of like your first era, isn't it? Really, Andrea Howson,
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. John,
Like for
Howson
you
for
and
me,
Lockie.
number one.
Yeah, you and Lockie, like Howson would be so high up, I'd imagine. We need to
Yeah,
do
but-
some of these for short content.
Yeah,
don't we? We need
absolutely,
to do some.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
difficult though.
Big no,
Yeah.
Johnny House on the shoots. No.
No.
Johnny Metcalf, I'm thinking of 1970.
Can't remember his last.
Holland.
He came a
Jody
bit of
Morris.
not a legend, but he played at Borough more recently for a few
But he's
seasons.
I think he's at Norwich as well. He's positively
Legend
looked
status,
at
yeah.
everywhere he's
Yeah,
been,
yeah,
isn't
it's
he? I
good
think
pro
he's just
as
a
well.
solid pro, I think.
What have I got?
You've got 6 and 8.
6 for Johnny Howson.
6. Yeah.
Seth Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, had some
Just
talent,
it just
but-
gives me bad vibes of that period as well, man.
yeah.
Because Seth Johnson.
Derby, weren't he?
But when did he come from Derby to Leeds?
There we go. But yeah, I need to sort something so we can do something like that with ours. I
Yeah,
thought.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Johnson number one for contracts probably.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely, mate. That's quality. Right. Okay. Not far off. Exactly, Vic. I didn't do too bad, did I?
Oh, you didn't. You didn't. Yeah.
We blind ranked defenders, fullbacks, wingers, strikers. So that's all going to be coming down the pipe. So make sure you keep an eye on Who's Listening UK and my Instagram. You'll see some more on there. Andrea, that was fun. But how are you, my brother?
Good, man. Good. Hopefully I'll be even better tonight, you know.
Right, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
good week, honestly. Just finish, of course, the working part of the week. So I'm looking forward to the weekend now.
No, but this is
Yeah.
the thing. When you play on a Friday night, it
Yeah.
has two things. It can either make or break your weekend.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely, you know.
by 10
I-
o'clock tonight, we'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, yes, come on, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, get on the weekend, yeah. But hopefully
Yeah.
that it be that case this
know.
time, but because if not, you know, you have 2 days. One tomorrow, you know, there'll be all the talks, the post-match analysis, all the opinions, of course, on the game. And imagine we lose tonight, it'd be even worse than after Burnley online. So yeah. You know, it will be either a meltdown or either a celebration. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
There's no gray in the middle between black and white at Leeds. You know, yeah.
There isn't. And listen, I say people go too far when we lose games and, you know,
I agree.
throw it all in the bin. But if we win tonight, I'll be going the other way and going like that to them all. You know what I mean? So, it is
Yeah, I know
it
what
is.
it means. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, mate, I watched your video with Lockie and you both sort of tended to agree with like maybe the overreaction and stuff from that Burnley loss. Wasn't great. Wasn't a great performance. The players, I felt, let the manager down in terms of, you know, finishing and obviously, and, you know, even just effort. You know, if I look at someone like Stack and Ampadu's performance, I felt they were well below average. What were your thoughts? I know you've spoken about it already, but just for those who haven't seen your video, what's your overriding thoughts on the back of that?
I think it was probably on par with that. The Arsenal one was the best, the worst game that we played this season. There's no doubt
I think
about
it's
that.
worse
You know?
than that. Even though we got battered 5-0, I think it's worse, Andre.
Absolutely. And there's only one reason for that, because Arsenal, you know, they're on a different level compared to us, while Burnley are rivals, you know, and we faced them last season. We know them. We know how they play too. We had injuries. Okay, we had injuries, but I think the performance, we created chances. Yes, we created chances, but in terms of rhythm, in terms of being on the edge, the sense of urgency, you know, the aggression on the pitch, they weren't there. Unfortunately, at Tough Moor compared to other games like The Spurs game we lost, but at least we fight. We created something. We were always in the game. We always had chances to get back into the game. Same as Bournemouth. We deserved the 3 points. We let ourselves down by that one mistake that allowed us to drop 2 points. Actually, the Fulham one, another individual mistake. Unfortunately, ruling with the own goal by Goodmanson, ruling a good performance.
We should have more points.
Absolutely, man. There's no doubt about that. But I think the Burnley one was different. Absolutely, it left a bad taste in our mouth. In terms of, that was different. That wasn't the Leeds that we know. That wasn't. I know we have injuries. I know we have probably an incomplete squad depth, and I think that became very visible in the last couple of games because of the injury run that we're on basically. But that's no excuse. The players that go on the pitch, even the one like Aronson,
should be enough.
Chances.
Should be enough.
There's also another thing. When other players that started the season got injured, you have to take your chance if you want to stay in the starting lineup. That's your chance to impress. That's your chance to take that place. And they haven't changed basically. They haven't left their mark. They haven't consistently put an effort and left the mark. When they came on, I cannot remember honestly a great move or an action when I remember like, they were really changing that game for us in that action. They changed it, but in a bad way at Burnley. Like Aronson 1v1, he has to score there. He has to score. And Aronson two times, especially the first one, he's free. You can even stop the ball and shoot there. He tried to volley it, and he volleyed it wide. So it's a different game if we equalize, because we had control of the ball, but we didn't have the sense of urgency. We didn't have the proper rhythm, the proper communication, proper passing between the midfield and the strikers. Even Mecha, the one time we did actually Mecha, header, and again, you should score there. I think it's down to we are setting up good. We're missing the sense of urgency. We're missing the 1v1 output on the wing. And especially when we have the chances in the Premier League, you should score those chances, because it's already been not just a couple of games now, 3-4 games when we have dropped points because of missed chances. It's not like we have been battered by the other team, or we are the worst team on the pitch because we are deciding to sit deep into our own half and try to counter-attack. No, it's not like that. We're trying to actually play. But the problem is, when we are creating with that setup, the quality isn't there. The Premier League quality required isn't there so far. And that's the difference, my point of view right now. The players, like you said, the players let the manager down. Yeah, the setup is good, but where's the efficiency? There's no efficiency. DCL, Mecha, the 2 9s, one goal each, a penalty and a header. That's another thing that should be improved, the 9s, just 2 goals in 8 games,
Yeah, it's terrible. Did you see the Athletic article about us being bottom of the table for chance conversion rate? And it's an alarming statistic. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has missed 5 big chances, more than anybody else in the team. We've got the fact that we've created 11 chances in the last 3 games and only scored 1. 11 big chances.
Terrible.
And that was from Okafor's tapping, bro. It's really bad when you think about 11 and only 1 goal. It's not good. And that's where our problems lie for me. Because, I spoke to Joe yesterday and Joe has a different viewpoint, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But in terms of XG against, we're like 4th in the league. We're doing well. But in terms of scoring goals, we're bottom. And that's, for me, shows where the problem is. And the only frustrating thing for me, it comes to depth, Andrea, because we can't even change Calvert-Lewin because Mecha's not good enough, and Pirro can't play as a sole 9 in the Prem.
Absolutely, man. You're spot on. And if you remember, but I'm sure you remember, I don't know why I keep saying if you remember. You remember. You remember well when we talk in the summer, when we did transfer shows, especially edging towards deadline day, we always said we don't have enough in the 9 position in terms of quality, because I think Pirro is a very good player in the Championship. He's improving in the Premier League level. Yeah. I think he's a top striker for the Championship, because the rhythm and intensity are on a different level. Even against the top teams, he struggled at times in the Championship. And Mecha and Calvert-Lewin, Calvert-Lewin, he as the experience is very useful, same as Mecha, but they are not prolific goal scorers, and when you don't have the quality in a league that has a lot of teams, including ourselves, like we did in the championship, that prioritize a lot wing play, like last season, Solomon, James, Nyonto, Ramazani, a lot of depth there, We don't have that now because, okay, injuries, Nyonto is out, Okafor injured again. Remember me saying, Okafor is a very good player, but he gets injured a lot. And it has already happened twice, unfortunately. And there's a completely different intensity and level of requirements, in the Premier League. It's even more demanding compared to Serie A. And he may have, even in the future, muscular problems, unfortunately, because it's a different level of requirement. But the nines, I think, DCL, Mecha, good useful players, but where's the double figures number 9? I remember that people, even in the space, said, okay, we might decide not to have a prolific number 9, but then we have the wingers, because the era of prolific goal scorers in the 9 is passing, I don't think so, if you look at the other teams. And if they don't have a goal scoring number 9, they have goal scoring double figures wingers. Where are our wingers? The only one that can get double figures realistically now is Okafor. Because I don't see James, I don't see Aronson, Harrison, and Willie getting double figures, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's another thing, I think it's down to depth and missing out on transfers. Look at Pike Shaw. We missed out on him, scored in the Champions League. That was the guy, unfortunately. Yeah, that was our guy, honestly.
Yeah.
That was our guy, the guy we needed. Yeah.
Definitely. I think what frustrates me even more when we see situations like this as well, Andrea, is that for me, we've sort of spunked up the wall 15 million on James Justin and Sebastian Bornau, who, if there won't be injuries, they're not going to see the pitch. So we could have used that, further upfield. I pray to God that Okafor is fit. I pray to God James starts. I start to feel a little bit better if it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Okafor and James. I think they can get close enough to Calvert-Lewin. They can run off Calvert-Lewin for any flick-ons, and obviously I do back Okafor to find the back of the net, unlike any other of the wingers in our team. James was amazing last season, but in the Premier League, it's a different kettle of fish. James, some games would have, 4 or 5 chances, maybe score 1 or 2. In the Premier League, he gets 1, and he has to find the back of the net,
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, there is issues, and I think where my head's at the minute, we need to be in a good position for January, and then hopefully we go again. We have to, as long, like, I think personally, and this is where people think the manager's not good enough or whatever. But if we're outside the relegation zone come January, I think that's a massive, massive win. Like, I think Farke has done a great job, especially when you look at our fixtures leading up to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I said when we talk about it after the end of the window, if we stay up with this squad, it's a miracle by the manager and the players, because we don't have enough. We don't have enough. Even teams below us in the table, they have more squad depth than us, because of course they invested more, like Forest, West Ham.
Bro, just look
even
at West
Wolves.
Ham, yeah?
Even Wolves, they have Strand Larsen up front.
Yeah. In West Ham, right, they've got Bowen, Somerville, Paqueta, Fulcrook. They've got all these players, bro. Every single one of them gets in our team.
Absolutely, man.
The only team that's the same as us is Burnley, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone else is better. Everyone else is better, man.
Yeah, and they will invest for sure in January if they are in a bad position. I don't know about us. We need to. I agree with you. We need to, because we are seeing that. Like last season, I remember when we, and even the season before, when we said, if a player gets injured, like when Ampadu was moved to the centre back line, or even last season, and we said, we're just one injury away from major disaster because we don't have the replacements like at the back. Remember, there was just the bio for Rodon, for example, and Verber on the other side. But yeah, I think we need to. That right winger is massive, because Okafor can play on the left, and I'd call him left winger, but realistically, he starts on the wing, but then passes the ball to the midfielders and moves more central in a central area near Calvert-Lewin. I think that's a position where he's been better off. Like me, I said I think he's a done and dusted second striker, because it's his best position, and so far he scored the goals just in the box, So he knows well how to move in that position. What we're missing is the right winger. If James is fit and fit enough to start tonight, he should start. Because we cannot afford to say again, like we did with Fulham when we said Aronson will play because he will have to face Anthony Robinson. I don't want to hear tonight at home at Elland Road Aronson will start because he has Malik Hadji Diouf. No, we are at home. We need to win this game.
100%.
Here you go with the Bielsa glasses.
And we're back to mean business. But yeah, I agree with you. James has to play. And listen, if we're being honest, James can do a very good job, defensively. I just would, before we talk about if it's must win and stuff, do you want to see Tanaka come in? I thought, if I'm honest, mate, I'm quite annoyed with Stack's performance in the last couple of games. I don't think he's been good enough. I think, it's not been great. So I'd like to see Tanaka come in for Stack. I don't know. What about the midfield for you? I'm just frustrated as well, Andre. We don't have a 10 or someone that can play further forward, because in that Burnley game, halfway through, you could tell we didn't need the three midfielders. You could have put a number 10 in there and took one of them out, but we don't have that. Again, it comes to recruitment, doesn't it? But the midfield three, do you make any changes there going into this?
Well, we need to see if Ampadu, because he's missed some training session this week. So if Ampadu is not available, I'll play, of course, Tanaka, Stack in the number 6, not Gruev, and Longstaff. Not Gruev, but Stack, because Stack has played in that position. It was his main position, basically. Of course, different formation from 4-3-3. Yeah. He always had a player near him, so it was completely different setup, but he knows how to play out from the back, 1-2 touches, switch to side. He can do that, of course, in a different way than compared to Ampadu, of course. But if Ampadu is not available from the start, because he doesn't have the 90 minutes in his leg, I'll play Stack, then Tanaka on the left and Longstaff on the right. If Ampadu is available, I agree with you, honestly, for tonight, Tanaka, Longstaff, and Ampadu, because recently, and the Burnley game pointed it out pretty well, especially when we lose possession, even against Spurs when in the first goal, we tell when we lose possession on the left-hand side, the area covered by Stack, or when they bypass our midfielders, there's always danger. Look at the goal scored by Chauna. There's Colin with the ball. Stack goes with a passive pressing towards him. Yeah. Colin sees him arriving, passes the ball to Florentino. Tung, first touch to Chauna, free, because Ampadu dropped into the back line. Yeah. He has the time, and Stack, even the pressing that he did, trying to track him back.
Oh, it was embarrassing, man.
So passive. Yeah, and even in the goal, there's three of that's the first goal they scored, with Oguchuku. There's Stack, Ampadu and Rodon. No, sorry, Strauch, Stack
and Rodon.
And Rodon, all of them. No, so honestly, Stack, Strauch, Ampadu, and Rodon behind them, And there's three of our players in front, but Oguchuku at the start of the action was marked by Stack, and Stack loses him. Then there's the miscommunication on who takes Oguchuku, and there's Rodon on the left and Strauch on the right, looking at him because it's your man or it's my man or your man, and there's again miscommunication. So I think something needs to change, because a lot of our goals have come from miscommunications between the defenders and the midfielders. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just going to stand up. My back's been hurting, mate, lately.
No, don't worry.
I'm doing a Bielsa, man. I'm doing a Bielsa, But yeah, no, I was really annoyed with Stack's performance. He wasn't the only one. I think
absolutely,
the last couple have been frustrating. Where do you stand on centre back, mate? Because that's been the talk. Obviously, Biol coming in for Pascal. I think unfairly, personally, that Strauch got a lot of the blame on Saturday. I'm not sure I quite agreed. Yes, he gave away the pass to Walker, but there's a lot of things happen before the goal's in back of the net. And also the first, I think, more stack for me personally than Strauch. He's coming between the centre backs, and that was Stack's man, and he's still stood in the same position when the ball goes in the back of the net. But do you think there will be changes there? I have a feeling that the manager probably will make changes and bring Be-all in. Where do you stand on that?
I have a divided opinion on that, because first and foremost, it's again down to fitness, because Strauch, like Ampadu, missed some training session this week. So if he isn't fit enough to start 100%, even Stack has been playing with a problem recently. So again, I asked myself, why didn't he play Tanaka then if Tanaka was ready? Instead of Stack, who wasn't at 100%,
No.
So yeah, I think it's down to that. But also down to who we think West Ham will play, because of course Fulkrug is not available, and that would have been the perfect way to introduce Be-all into the starting lineup. I think because two physical players, Fulkrug challenges a lot the centre backs, and Be-all, with his physique, with his body, and his aggression, especially on aerial balls, would have been the ideal marker for him. On the other hand, if they play with a false nine like Paquetá, like Somerville, or if they play with a different type of striker, Wilson, in that case...
I know Fulkrug's out.
Yeah.
Wilson's on that mad pay-as-you-play deal, isn't he? So I think in the last game he brought off a youngster in the 9 as opposed to bringing on Wilson. So yeah. I think we might see that false 9 again, I think.
Yeah, and with the false 9, I'd prefer Strauch, to be fair.
Yeah,
to Be-all, because the false 9 used ideally moves all around.
Yeah,
and I know that Tiaka is more used to a back 3 in the middle.
Yeah.
Why in that back 3 you have the two other centre backs, that are dragged out usually by a false 9. He's playing in a back 4 here, but yeah, in terms of pace, I think Strauch will be better in dealing with them. But yeah, if we make a decision on the other hand to play Ampadu and not drop Ampadu back when we are in possession, I'll be okay with Be-all and Rodon, because West Ham, for example, it won't be the case because he's not playing. But in the squad they have, for example, Souček and Ward-Prowse, for example. That's 2-6 basically. So they stay back.
Souček played in the last game.
Yeah, Souček did, and honestly, I hope that he puts Tanaka on him, honestly, tonight, in terms of really pressing him, because if you block the initiative from the back, from Souček, I think you'll force them to go with the long ball into the space in the channels, with the false 9, because in the middle, they are more physical than us, they have various options, Rodriguez,
got Fernandez, haven't they? They bought Fernandez from Southampton.
Fernandez, Mangassa, player from Monaco. All of them very tall and physical, more physical than ours. So if we have to play like toe-to-toe, pound for pound in the middle, we lose that battle in terms of physicality. So we need to win that battle with rhythm. And the problem is if they play with two more conservative players, they will really get toast, because they'll have a false 9, but also two wingers that can really play also in the middle, moving all around and try to drag the centre back out. So yeah. It's because they've seen what happened with Wolves, with Burnley, with Spurs, with that, and they will try to replicate what causes problems, in those games.
100%. Yeah, definitely. We are susceptible to that counter, and with someone like Somerville and Bowen. They can pose a threat, and I think West Ham have less pressure on the road as well, because obviously at their home ground at the minute there's protests and everything, so they're probably relishing the opportunity to get away from London Stadium and come and give it a good go against us. Would you make change at goalkeeper, mate? I think personally, I think we need to. Perry's the number 1. We bought him for a reason. He needs to now see some games for me. So I would put him in, mate. I don't know about you.
I think it's a good point, but I think...
It's a sorry state of affairs, by the way, if he's not good enough to get past Darlow. Again, that's poor recruitment. Poor recruitment.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the case. But I think if the change happens, I think it will happen after the next international break, to be fair.
Okay.
For me. Yeah. I think they'll take like the next international break and say, okay, that you're gonna play. Now we are gonna plan with Perry again as the number 1, because I get your point, and on a financial, I think Darlow is doing well. To be fair, he deserves to keep his place. But in terms of financial, you invested a lot of money to bring in a number one, and of course he got injured. But if you really believe in your number one in terms of as a club, you play him when he's available.
100%.
Because I get it if it's like the second choice goalkeeper is like a 2021 player with a lot of potential, like with a long contract, 4 or 5 years. And you say, oh, we took a number one, an experienced number one, but our product, maybe product of the academy or young player is doing really well. He's going to be our goalkeeper. He has the potential to be the goalkeeper of our future. Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. He keeps his place. But I get on a financial perspective your point, because we invested the money to bring in Perry. We already have another goalkeeper on our books, Medlia, that we didn't manage, again, to recruitment. We didn't manage to sell him. And in terms of recruitment, I want to say also another thing, because West Ham played and lost against Brentford. I really didn't like the quotes on the BBC by Adam Underwood, to be fair, because the situation we're in right now, we really need to look at ourselves and not say those things, I think, publicly in the press, because he said basically that when he went to that conference, I can't remember the name of that conference, and he realized basically that Brentford, basically in simple terms, Brentford in terms of data, like a giant compared to Leeds, after that conference. I think, okay, he's praising Brentford, but how does it make us look,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It seems like we are not on level with Brentford. Like, okay, in terms of exposure, in terms of prestige, in terms of history, we are far better, a giant compared to Brentford. But in terms of data, we are like minnows compared to them.
100%.
I think he wanted to say, like, we're just alive in the Premier League. We really need to make to understand better the league. It's the first tenure that he has, Underwood as director of football. But it's not a good look for us, because it's 100%. Like admitting we don't have the tools Brentford has.
Yeah.
And we should have really, because all the investment of the 49ers
100%.
have really invested a lot of data. We have data guys a lot. Why are not compared with Brentford? It's down to having the right people, not having like more money than the others, in this case. Because I don't think Brentford has more money than us. I think we are more solid in terms financially compared to Brentford. It's just one owner there, and he owns also Mitchillian, I think. Matthew Bellham,
that's right.
Yeah. And we have a consortium, like a fund, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And the Red Bull, and we're going to lean on them, and we've got this person and that person, and it just look. I agree with you, mate. I mean, the recruitment really showed their naivety when we saw that deck that the Athletic released, what they were sending to prospective investors about extra money, and on there was like, we're going to sign a veteran for 250k, we're going to sign a player for 5 million in this position, and it was like, like, what are you going on about? I don't know if you remember that deck that got sent out, and the whole 250k on a veteran. It was like, where are you getting these numbers? Like, where's this data coming from? So it really did show a real naivety. And look, the more we talk about it, Andrea, if we don't stay up this season, for me, it'll be down to them, because I believe the manager has already shown us with the tools that he has that he's got enough to stay in the division. If we had better personnel, we'd have scored more goals, which goals, points, and all that sort of stuff. We've competed with Tottenham, with Bournemouth, with Fulham. We have shown, or the manager's shown enough to me. I know not to everybody, but he's shown enough to me to say, you know what, we've got more than enough. Now, I do want to bring it back. I mean, the topic for this video is tonight a must-win game for Farke? For a lot of the fan base, they would say it is. If they lose tonight, there'll be people in my post-match saying we need to sack him. I'm not there. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But one thing's certain, we do need to pick up our points at home. We need to pick up our points. And to be honest, with the form West Ham are in, 3 points is a must. And Rysel made a good point, and I just did have a quick look. After this, mate, after this game at home, we're away at Brighton, we're away at Forest, we then play Villa, we're then away at City, away at home against Chelsea, and at home against Liverpool. And that takes us to the 14th of December. Obviously, there's an international break in there. But I'm looking at them them fixtures: Brighton away, Forest away, Villa at home, City away, and then Chelsea and Liverpool at home. I'm going, oh my God, that's going to be hard to get wins, let alone points.
Welcome back to the Premier League.
Welcome back, 100%. But the last time we won a game was a month ago against Wolves. If we get a win here, it gives the manager breathing space again. You know, it gives him breathing space again. I don't know where you are at. Is tonight a must win? And are you scared about them fixtures that are coming, you know, down the road? Maybe scared's not the right word, but you know what I mean?
Worried, yeah. Worried because it's a very challenging run against direct rivals. In this case, that we didn't expect to be direct rivals, like Forest, for example, and Villa too, because Villa didn't start the season well. And top sides like City, like Liverpool, you know, hopefully Chiesa spells us, you know. I may send him a message, you know. No, I'm joking, of course.
He needs to be starting over Salah at this moment in time, I tell you that much.
Yeah, doing well. He's a great guy, very professional. But yeah, talking about us, I think tonight it's absolutely a must-win game because of what happened at Burnley, you know, because I've been happy, you know, if we got a point at Burnley, because it's an away game. But again, Bournemouth drop 2 points because we deserve to win that game. Spurs, we deserve at least 1 point, 0 points. Newcastle, very good, but goalless draw. We really need to pick up points at home, especially against direct rivals, because if West Ham are still there, you know, this game will happen in the second part of the season, and going at Stratford, you know, in the heat of the season, it won't be a similar situation to the one of tonight, you know, when we are towards the end of October, you know, it will be a totally different game. And you really need, especially looking at the struggles that West Ham have right now. Of course, Nuno, I think, will really reset them. Honestly, I think they'll still up because Nuno is a very good manager. And he's shown that. I think they have the squad capable of adapting to his style of football. I think we've seen that at Forest, you know, how the fullbacks are involved in the build-up, how they can be effective on both sides of the pitch, you know, and how the nine moves all around. In this case, they have, of course, a false nine on a physical nine like Chris Wood or Avoni, you know, those kind of players. But I think the setup is very similar, and the wingers go in behind, you know, when the nine moves towards the ball. But I think it's a must-win because of the situation West Ham are in. But I don't agree with the fact that when people say Farke goes and gets sacked if we don't win tonight. I don't think so, honestly. We've seen the 49ers giving a lot of time to Russell Martin, you know, at Rangers. I think you can point out, of course, his mistakes in managing the team in terms of setup, in terms of match day picks in the starting 11. But that's one thing you cannot blame the manager for. I think he's just pointing to the surface of the iceberg and not looking at the rest of the iceberg. Because there's currently a lack of quality up front. Because we are getting the chances, but we don't have players with Premier League quality to convert those. Look at the quality of our front four, front three, of course, but I'm including also the substitutes. Compare that to all the other teams, probably par Burnley, that are in the lower end of the table. We didn't sign enough players there. And even to those saying Farke needs to change, needs to bring in something, get something from his bench. From who? Yeah. Tonight, probably Okafor will be there, and that's a player that really.
I think Okafor starts, you know. I think he starts.
Hopefully. If not, at least you have a player coming off the bench that can really impact the game, can be a game changer. Because all the others, they cannot consistently. They maybe can enter the match tonight and score a goal, change the game for us, but consistently throughout the season, no. They cannot. There's not enough alternatives on the bench, you know. Because again, at Burnley, we ended the game with Mecha, Calvert-Lewin, and Pirot. That tells you everything you need to know about what is lacking in terms of the construction and the build-up. And even the people saying, you know, maybe we can switch the formation. Farke needs to switch the formation. Okay, 3 centre-backs. Bogle, Gudmundsson. Then you have the midfielders, of course. But then, of course, second striker, Okafor, and Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. Okay. But then on the bench, if you're playing 3-5-2, who are the second striker if you have to sub off Okafor? You have Enmecha as the substitute for the 9. Second striker, Pirot, Nyonto. Where does that change of formation leave Harrison, James? This team, unfortunately, and I really say unfortunately because I think it's better, like you said, Joe, before, in certain situations at Burnley, we really needed that number 10, that creative midfielder, but we didn't have one on the bench. This team, in terms of build, how it was built in the transfer window, is built solely for 4-3-3. You cannot change the formation. You can try, but you have the 11 players, but then you don't have the substitute for certain positions, That's the problem, because Bogle can play wing back. Can James Justin? James Justin is a fullback, back 4. Yeah. On the other hand, can Byron play wing back in a 3-5-2? No. I don't think so. No, that's the problem. How the squad was assembled,
Yeah, it's piss poor. I agree with you on the majority of points, mate, that you've made, and we just hope that we can get players back. I think in an ideal scenario, Okafor starts, James is on the right, and we have Nonto on the bench. That'd be perfect. Absolutely. I mean, already I'm going, oh, come on, please. I do just want to pick up on something again, and I am a little bit triggered by it, but Vanilla Coffee says, Farke is too stubborn. He's hanging on to the job by his fingertips. Now, for me, when you talk about hanging on by your fingertips, this is the last chance saloon. You're about to drop from the cliff and everything's about to over. There is not a world in which he is hanging on to the job by his fingertips. I honestly don't understand the logic by some fans who believe that by changing the manager like this, we suddenly are better. We are exactly where we are supposed to be right now. Yes, okay, we lost to Burnley. We lost to Arsenal. They're the two. Every other game we've been in. Don't forget this Bournemouth slide are flying right now. They've slapped up nearly everybody. And we almost beat them. And I know it's all if, buts and maybes. This Spurs side that are great away from home, we probably should have beat them. They had 2 deflected goals. We should have at least had a point. This notion that he's hanging on by his fingertips is Leeds have played 8 and got 4 points like West Ham. That's hanging on to the job like by your fingertips. That's getting sacked like Graham Potter is. That's getting sacked like Ange did, who had 1 game to win it against Chelsea. There is no way Farke is in a position where if he loses tonight, the board go, right, we have to sack him. It's done. It's crazy. Leeds are exactly where they're supposed to be. I think people have forgotten what happened last time we started sacking managers and employing absolute clowns. I've seen this week people talking about your man, Liam Rossigna, Lee Connard. Like, what I will say is that guy is over in France doing it with Strasbourg, where there's no pressure, where they're basically Chelsea's second team. He has his pick of top players across Europe that aren't deemed good enough for Chelsea. And he was at Hull City, where they spent the most they've spent in a long time in January, where they had players like Fabio Carvalho, where they had players like Liam Delap, and he couldn't even get them in the playoffs. He has one way of playing, and that is it. This notion that he's better than what we've got, he is not. He is not.
Remember, Will Steele, where people were raving about 100%. Will Steele, had Lance, Rams. Then he went to Southampton. What is happening now?
Exactly. Sacked in the morning. Sacked in the morning in his last game.
Yeah, and I think there's also another thing, we really need to be pragmatic and bring some realism, because look at the available managers. Southgate won't come. Xavi won't come. Thiago Motta, ask the Juve fans what they think about him, but won't come. Because with this squad, who will come with this squad? It's not a complete squad. It's a very difficult squad to work with for a manager. Postecoglou, maybe, I don't know. Marco Rose won't come. Ten Hag won't come. Terzic won't come. There's Gary O'Neill available. Bruno Lag won't come. He was at Benfica. Adi Utter, he was at Monaco, won't come. Palladino from Fiorentina was parted ways at the end of the last season. Good manager, but not ready for the Premier League. There's not many managers, to be fair, if you look at the available managers. A manager that can really change that situation, because I think every manager will struggle with this squad. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Every single manager will struggle with squad because it's incomplete. You have a lack of alternatives. As an Uthul, maybe Van Nistelrooy. Will you bring as an Uthul? Van Nistelrooy, I don't know. People have their opinions, of course. Vanoli.
We are not, to put it in a way, we are not Nottingham Forest. Sean Dyche has gone into that squad and gone, I can't believe how lucky I am. He's got Milinkovic. He's got Murillo at the back. He's got Chris Wood, Jesus, Callum Awendo up top. He's got Morgan Gibbs-White, Elliot Anderson, Bakwa. He's got all these players. He can't believe his luck. We are not that. Sean Dyche comes in, say someone, people mention Sean Dyche, for example, or Nuno. Again, West Ham have more tools than us. For me, especially in the final third, we have the worst squad. And if you think sacking him, who in the world is coming in? And please don't chat to me about Liam Rossini because he's articulate and can speak French. I got to see him French. Does that make me a good manager? Get in the bin. Daniel Farke is the best manager we can possibly. Of course, there may be exceptions to the rule, but for me, he's doing a fantastic job.
Je peux parler français aussi si tu veux. Je peux devenir l'entraîneur de Leeds si tu veux. I can become the manager of Leeds because I speak French too. You want me to?
Oui. Bonjour. Bonjour, ça va?
Ça va bien, mon frère.
Carlos Corberán not having a great time out in Spain. Someone's mentioned Stevie G, have a day off. I just don't know who else is out there. If you could guarantee me. I don't know.
Thiago Motta is absolutely, he was managing Juve. A lot of people say, bring in Thiago Motta, but Thiago Motta, when he signed for Juve, he asked, bring me Cup Miners, bring me Douglas Luiz. He really wanted players in order to sign. And the same players that didn't perform like Douglas Luiz is now back at Forest, of course, if you ask Juve managers, he kept experimenting, so people will hate him. The people that hate Farke, basically not hate, of course, criticize Farke a lot, will absolutely hate the opinions of Thiago Motta because he really changed the squad every time, basically. But he's waiting for a top UCL side or ULL side. Yeah.
I'm just gonna jump in here, and Headers Brown says, "Why are you protecting Farke? Load of bull." What? I'm not protecting him. I'm not his protector. I'm telling you my opinion, and my opinion is that he's great. We'll be bottom at Christmas. I'll have you a bet now if you want that we won't be bottom at Christmas, and I'll have you a bet that we win tonight if you want. And then what you've done then is suggested Gary O'Neill. In what world? Is it because he speaks well on Monday Night Football? Because all I see Gary O'Neill is going in at Bournemouth, doing a good job for one season, which Farke's doing right now. Then they got took over by Iriola, and now look at them. He then went to Wolves. Guess what? Sacked. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Or is it because he speaks well on Monday Night Football? Don't suggest Carrick. That's laughable. Again, sacked at Middlesbrough. Look at the job that Rob Edwards is doing at Middlesbrough now, comparative to Carrick. You know what I mean? Exactly, Howard. This is all I can think about when we're talking about Daniel Farke at the minute. And again, he's not on his level, but all I keep thinking about is the same heads that were criticizing Marcelo, that 2 years after the fact said, sorry, I was wrong. How can they not see what's happening now? It's
always
mental.
The same, yeah. Tous les mêmes, the French will say. Always the same, the same back then and now. Yeah, but even Carrick, no experience in the Premier League. If you will be in a position to change in the future, I think I would say thank you, Farke, for what you did.
Yes,
but you didn't have a squad to keep us up, unfortunately.
Yeah,
you had your faults probably in terms of tactics, team selection. I can.
Yeah, no one's exempt
criticize you for that. Yeah, exactly. I can criticize you if you don't agree with your team selection, but that's a thing that I cannot blame you for. You didn't have enough players at your disposal. You didn't have enough material to change formations, to have players having an impact, because it's not Farke's fault if Aronson 1v1 misses, if Harrison, that we all said, is not a player that can have an impact in this side, because both him and, for example, Dan James, they thrive when they have spaces to run into. They're not 1v1 players, That's the difference. The only 1v1 player that we have consistently is Noah Okafor. And maybe if he gets back on his best level, Willy Gnonto, maybe on the wing. The problem is the Premier League. Look at every team. Go on Transfermarkt. Look at every team in the league, even in our area, near the red zone. And look at the wingers. Every club has 4, 5 wingers. There is at least 2 or 3 that are dribblers, that can contribute consistently in terms of goals and assists. The exact statistics that bring you points. We don't have that apart from Okafor, and maybe if he gets back to his best, Gnonto.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's a big if as well. If he can get back to his best, I'm thinking lineup tonight, Andrea. Just to focus on tonight again, I'm thinking it's Bogle, Rodon, Biol, Goodmanson, a midfield 3 of Ampadu, Longstaff, and Tanaka, and then James, Okafor, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think that's my dream lineup for tonight. If everyone who I've mentioned is available, obviously if Gnonto was playing, maybe I'd start him ahead of James, but I know Gnonto won't be. But what do you make to that lineup? Does that have enough? Would you go to this 3-5-2 that people are suggesting? I can't help but think we'd be too isolated out on the flanks. There'd be no one to overlap. Our best positions are wingers. We'd be basically saying, wingers, you sit on the bench. You know what I mean? While we play Pirro and Calvert-Lewin. So I'm not sure that works either. But hey.
Yeah, I think changing now the formation to a 3-5-2, which is a completely different setup compared to 4-3-3, it takes time, and that would be the worst game to make it happen. Because of course, remember when Marsh tried to change the setup when he came in, players were all over the place. So players will be all over the place if they change. If that happens, probably it will happen again. Like I said, with the change with Dallo and Perry, in my opinion, after the international break, the next one, because they can work on that with the available players, of course, during the break, because it takes time to adapt and adjust to a different system. Even other managers, when they take over a new job mid-season, usually it takes for them like 3-4 games before they really implement their style of football. Like in the first couple of games, they remain with the previous setup from the match that was sacked, usually in football. But yeah, that would be the ideal lineup, the one you mentioned. But realistically, for me, I think it would be like more Darlow, Bogle, Rodon, Biol. Yeah, because I don't think Strauch has 90 minutes probably. Gudmundsson, Tanaka. I think I have a fear he plays Grujev, to be fair.
Do you?
Because I think, and that would be, of course, a mistake for me. I would criticize that because I think Stark can play in the 6. Because if Ampadu is not available, I think Farke may see as his only replacement Grujev. I think Stark is a good replacement for Ampadu because he played in the position in Germany. Yeah. So
but the money, I don't, like you said, I don't think the manager will see that, will he? He prefers him as an 8, do you think, and would play Grujev?
Exactly. Yeah, in that case, maybe I will play Tanaka, Stark, and Longstaff, but I have fear my manager plays like Longstaff, Grujev, Stark. We need Tanaka tonight. I think it's a game for Tanaka tonight. And up front, I don't think, maybe James can start this time, but I think in the end to finish the formation, I think we'll start it. It will be like Longstaff, Grujev, Stark, Aronson, Calvert-Lewin, Harrison, because I don't think the other players have 90 minutes in the if they have at least like 60 minutes, and you can make the change in the second half, start them, because we really need to win this one. Okafor, we need the Okafor, we need Tanaka, we need James in this game, honestly. We need offensive players.
We do. That can really contribute. If the lineup comes out and it's Aronson and Harrison, they'll be, it's going to be rough. Brett says, I remember before deadline day, you all thought you had a good window with good signings. Watch this. This is not true, Brett. I mean, you're just making things up, because we with the signings we got, good, but we were never happy.
Yeah,
we were never happy. You can say that we were, but we weren't. And you can go watch videos where you'll see that I was not happy with what's done. But listen, hopefully we win. Andrea, I've said all week, Leeds United 2, West Ham 0. Where's your head at ahead of tonight's game?
I fear a draw, to be fair, like a 1-1. Really? Yeah, but I will say, because I really want us to win, and I really think that at Elland Road, under the lights, with after a very bad performance, the leaders, if we have leaders, it's their time to show up in this situation, because after that, if we lose this game or drop points in this game, then you have like you showed mate, there's a very difficult run coming up. So players know the importance of this game, and it's the time for leaders, captain, all the players with more experience. Rodon, for example, growing into
Longstaff, man. Longstaff's the boy.
They need really to leave a mark on and lead their teammates, because there will be many games in this game. There will be many different games in terms of we will attack them. I think it will be very similar to the Everton game, to be fair. It might be very similar to the Everton game. Very different situation in a singular game. But yeah, I fear a draw, like 1-1, but ultimately I'm going to say 2-1 for us. 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
I take
Hopefully,
it. I'd love it.
Cost.
I would love it. As Kevin Keegan said, I would love it. I would love it if we beat them. Listen, Brett, not on here you didn't. Maybe fans in the chat, not on here. I was praising Sunderland's business, Xhaka being one of them, and I was told he was over the hill, he was washed, and he's been arguably your best player. And that leader that Andrea spoke about, that is one thing that Xhaka's brought to Sunderland. Rysel, I'm not getting involved in this. The manager, for me, should not be getting sacked. And until I believe that that's the fact, then I'll say it. But right now, nah, it's not even in conversation, mate. Not for me. I'm not helping aid that. I'm not perpetuating that. Go somewhere else for that. Sorry, Andrea.
No worries. I wanted to echo what you said, to Brett. Honestly, we always said the players that we signed are good players. But the thing ultimately, and if you look at the marks, I think I gave the window a mark 4 or 5 out of 8, probably, when we talk about giving a mark to the window, because the ultimately, Biol, decent player, I would have signed, honestly, Thomas Christensen from Udinese, not him, because I think Christensen has an higher ceiling. Justin, useful player. Okafor, good player, but of course, injury plagued. DCL, Mecha, all useful players, but injury plagued, both of them. We didn't sign a prolific 9. We didn't sign a top winger. We didn't manage to offload Melier, Aronson too, for me, because I think Aronson is trying, but he's not the starter in a Premier League side, to be fair. Good signings in midfield. Stack, I think we need a different number 8, because I think Stack is a number 6, different to Ampadu, so good alternatives there. Good signing, long stuff, but ultimately, no creative midfielder, no right winger, no top 9. So these were the 3 vital players to keep us up. If we stay up, it will be a miracle by the players and the manager again. So it's pretty clear, in my opinion, what I think. If you have,
do you know
any
what I
doubts
do
about
January the 1st? January the 1st, or at least now start preparing to find a club for Joel Pirro, get some money in, and then start to spend in the attack. I don't know about you.
Yeah, even alone, if because he has years on his contract, so it will be difficult to think a permanent. But yeah, I get that. Loan him off, because he will have shooters for sure in the Championship 100%. Or even abroad. Even in the Eredivisie probably, and get a proper top signing that can really challenge DCL for the starting spot and can cancel goals. We'll be again in the similar situation when we signed Rotter, and we had Gyökeres available for 20 million, in that window, when it was at Coventry, it was available for 20 million, and now we went for the sum that we all know to Arsenal. We really need to nail that one, because last time we picked Jorginho, who wasn't ready. We picked him as a 9. We bought him as a 9, and we needed a different 9. And that's one of the reasons we didn't stay up. Rodrigo tried, but we didn't have alternatives to Rodrigo that season.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That shouldn't happen anymore,
No, I agree. We could have signed Gyökeres, maybe even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But instead, we spent 30 million on Rutter. And listen, Rutter turned out amazing, but at the time, he wasn't the one we needed. Right, Andrea's going 2-1. I'm going 2-0. Both of us are getting 3 points, and let's hope that is the case. I'll be back live 7 o'clock for the lineups and obviously the lead up to the game. So make sure you join me for that. Make sure you go show some love to Andrea over on Lockie's channel with their podcast, which is Unfiltered Football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Unfiltered football.
Unfiltered
Yeah.
football. And if you listen to it, you'll notice Andreas sounds so much more Italian. I was laughing my head off yesterday in the car. I was driving and just like, I was like, who's this Italian guy speaking?
Yeah, because I got annoyed, you know, because there were so many elementary mistakes, and
Yeah.
you know, when I don't talk for a couple of days or like 4 or 5 days in English,
Yeah.
you know, I have to readjust,
Yeah,
you know,
remember.
like reprogram my head. You know?
Amazing. Make sure you check that out, folks.
Thanks,
Thanks
man.
everyone for watching, and I'll see you tonight. Peace out now, folks. Have a good Friday. Come on, Leeds.